This is a chord. Can you hear it? Can you feel it? And then you take and you move just one note. It's not so bright anymore, is it? And that's just one note. But I at least search for that fucking note because I want to feel.
Hello.
Hello. Billy's story is not your everyday musician, filmmaker story. He's been called enigma, musical genius, incredible guitar player, a recluse, a rebel with a cause. His films have been called masterpieces, yet he doesn't release them to the public. In your opinion, who and what is Billy Yeager?
Well, definitely all of the above. I worked with Hendrix and really with Bob Marley. It was before they became these kind of legends. Working on Beggar's Banquet felt pretty special. It was being filmed at the time. I guess Led Zeppelin, when I worked with them, were already pretty successful.
Phill Brown is considered to be a legend in the music industry, working for more than 55 years with over 300 of some of the biggest artists. That reads like a who's who in the music industry. His journey and experience was published into the critically acclaimed book, Are We Still Rolling?
But I think right now, up front, what everyone needs to know is you're the only person who's seen this film in over 20 years. In a few words, what is the thing that strikes you the most about this film and that made you want to come here today to let everyone know that every musician in the world needs to see this film?
Yeah, I mean, it's just great casting, fantastic editing. The visuals are beautiful, the soundtrack, and he puts across some very valid points, you know, about the state of the world and how we've kind of almost art, music, film has all become, you know, it's not sacred anymore, it's not special anymore, it's all been rather devalued. But I think everyone does need to see the film. It's uplifting, but it's also incredibly sad, you know. I've watched it a few times now, and each time you find something new.
Music used to stand for music. Rock and roll used to stand for something. It was fuck the establishment. But we sold out. We all sold out like whores.
You know, when I was 16 and started Olympic in '67, I did think that we could change the world with music, you know, and there was a bit of a revolution in the late '60s. But it might have taken 15, 20 years, but I think we did sell out as whores. It's definitely a deep kind of film. But then I think pretty much everything Billy does has got this kind of depth to it. Because I think he's on a mission. Yeah, he is an enigma. I wish he would release more. But he's just, yeah, remarkable musician. He does everything on a 4-track machine, which is like old school. He does a lot of his music is an unusual tuning. Obviously, everything's standard to 440, but he doesn't use that. He uses a different tuning. I think it's 432, but also that varies within itself as well. Which I think adds, it just definitely gives some magical element to his stuff. And I wish I'd met him 30 years ago when he was still functioning in the business, as it were, instead of walking away.
Well, there's a bit more depth in there.
Yeah, and also this character that he plays, Lloyd, I mean, he's just, you know, he is trying to find the perfect song. And obviously failing in a way. But he makes some great, you know, there's some great monologues or rants from Lloyd, where he says that, you know, God is just this one giant chord that if we could play it, it would heal the world. You know, that gives a bit of a gist as to what's going on. But no, I was impressed. I mean, say the acting's fantastic, and it's a good overall, you know, message. You know, I think we have slightly sold out. I mean, the world is in a huge mess.
Yeah.
How you change that around, I have no idea. I mean, I think, you know, as I mentioned with Billy, but I mean, getting into the music and studios in the late 60s, I thought music could change the world.
Yeah.
You know, I thought through the 60s and 70s, I did think we could make a difference. So much modern music, it just seems bland to me. And the subject matter, you know, that's the other thing. I mean, Billy writes songs that have real depth of meaning. And when you compare that to some of the lyrics of today, you know, I just find it, you know, embarrassing, really, that people are making so much money and having huge success on something that's so trivial. No, he does have this unique sound. I mean, it's hard to explain kind of what it is. I think it's just that because he's playing all the instruments and he's obviously really good at like arranging things, and also I think doing a lot of stuff on the, you know, off the top of his head on the spur of the moment. I don't think he overthinks things. I go now much more for feel, the ambient, the vibe, which is possibly why I've kind of been so easily accepting what Billy's doing, because although he's this incredible musician, that isn't really what's being flaunted.
Yeah.
It's this overall feeling and a vibe, this atmosphere, his textures, the depth of sound. But it's brilliant because it's coming from the heart, you know. The soul is speaking to you. He's obviously having to bounce things down. It's clever work, you know, because it's certainly not easy making records with a 4-track machine. It's how I started, and when you've got, you know, say I did this Hendrix All Along the Watchtower, I was the assistant for that, and that was done up, you know, drums all on one track, bass on a track, acoustic on a track, guide vocal, then that's bounced without the guide vocal to another 4-track machine, and add in the electric guitars, and so it's you have to think ahead, and it's very impressive when you can make, well, it's definitely Billy, I mean, making the records he does with a 4-track, it's impressive, and I don't quite know how he does it.
You don't know?
No.
The mystery.
It is really, because I mean, he obviously must know where he wants to end up, because that's the thing with 4-track, you have to kind of know where you're going, otherwise you get a bit stitched. But yeah, I don't know quite how he manages to pull it off as well as he does. I'd have to sit and watch him to find out how it's done, because I have no idea.
Well, yeah, let's make that happen. Yeah.
Is Phil's work with the artist that Roland from Tears for Fears, Kate Bush, and Peter Gabriel claimed was one of the greatest artists and created, quote, timeless masterpieces, a genius and a legend, Mark Hollis.
The only reason Mark Hollis and Tim Freeze-Green are the heroes that they are is because of the records they've made.
Phil spent over 3 years secluded, recording 18-hour days, engineering and producing the 3 most iconic records of all time, Mark Hollis, Spirit of Eden and Laughingstock, which are considered to be masterpieces by the most respected musicians and music critics. Mark Hollis's story about these recording sessions is also a documentary that features Phil.
There's a wonderful sequence in A Perfect Song where he's on the fly, he's recording, you know, guitar and piano or keyboard, guitar, bass, all at the same time. proper drums, we had guitars and keyboards and, you know, Hammonds and all of that. But there was also a lot of experimental stuff going on. Ditcham, who used to use kitchen utensils and, you know, so there's a huge similarity between watching Billy in that film, you know, where he has got spoons hanging up and playing Tupperware for drums and all of that. We were kind of doing that in Spirit of Eden. We were experimenting. So there's a huge similarity for me with that. Spirit of Eden cost £350,000 at the time. So we had, you know, time, money and all of it. Whereas, you know, Billy is obviously, you know, he has time, but he doesn't have, you know, huge amounts of money to spend, and he's not doing it so piecemeal. He's actually creating something that's happening live, which is impressive.
The perfect song, Lloyd, the one you're composing, you say it doesn't exist?
Yes, it exists. In God's ears. And he gives to whomever he wants. It's a curse.
It just feels like he's got some connection where things just stream through him, whether it's lyrically or musically. He's a lucky man from that point of view. I mean, I don't know if he's religious, but there are a lot of references in films and in music to God. So he may be lucky and have this kind of link where things transmit through him. I mean, I know he's explained to me that some of the Lloyd speeches that he did, you know, they weren't written down and scored out beforehand. Things just came through him or came to him when he was doing that shot.
I guess he's sort of in sacrificing all the kind of material pleasures of the body, as he says in the film. There's the gift of a greater connection to sort of divine creative energy that he shows in the music and the film.
Yeah, no, I'd agree.
If you love art, if you're a real artist, and you dedicate yourself to that, you dedicate yourself to God and being great. What's wrong with setting the bar high?
There's some music to go with it, and it makes it's like a confection of profundity.
In a way, it's a pity he's a recluse in that sense, and his work doesn't get out there more. But he's a true artist. I'd like to see Billy, get the recognition and get his work out there. I think the world needs this right now. I must admit, I really want to watch Jesus of Malibu. That's the film that I really want to see. But you know, we have to give it time. It will eventually surface, I'm sure.